Hey everybody, and welcome to my in5 series where I cover a topic in about 5 minutes. I have gotten some questions, whether it's been on some of my live streams or in YouTube comments and stuff, of just people asking, what are my thoughts on the OPXY, and then like how do I go find out if I would like using it or not? And it can certainly be a little bit of a tough question, but I would say if you've got access to an OPZ, this is a great advertisement, a learning tool, and way to kind of see if you like the way that the OPXY more or less works. A lot of the things are very similar or, in fact, the same. They both have 16 instruments. Now, here we've got 8, and then we've got 8 of what they call aux. Over here, we've got the 8 tracks, and you got kind of like your FX and other like ancillary tracks that will either affect the sound or can be used to control some external gear. We've got a 16-step sequencer here. You can extend that by making it run slower, so you can do that on both devices. And we've got the keyboard that also allows you to have access to your step components, which allows you to have like beat repeat kind of things, rolls. Whether you ignore, skip steps, or jump around on the sequence, you can do that on both the OPZ and the OPXY. And although there are some subtle differences, and there's a few, like I would say, major differences, by and large, though, you're going to be used to like this style of thinking and working on the OPZ, and it's going to work the same on the OPXY. Similarly, we've got sampling, although the OPZ only has, I think, 64, maybe it's 128 megabytes of memory. It is anemic. You need to squeeze every second or half second or millisecond that you can out of the OPZ, whereas we got 8 gigs of sample memory on the OPXY. That should be sufficient for plenty of people to work with, to sample things, reflip things, and do that. So I think, the big thing to know going in with the OPZ is you're going to be fighting with your memory constraints, but it has pretty much the same amount of ins and outs, especially if you got the line card. There's also like the card that gives you like some compatibility with Eurorack and other things. So really great little device and great gateway. I mean, heck, even the punch-in effects are very similar. So you're going to get like some of the beat repeats and stuff like that. Now, key differences. I know I've seen a lot of people saying that the OPXY is slower. I understand that, but because you certainly can get very fast on the OPZ, but I don't think we've seen a whole lot of people that have been using the OPXY every day. They haven't built up their processes and muscle memory. So I wouldn't say that the OPZ is necessarily faster. I think it just, for today, for the vast majority of people that have had the OPZ, it probably is faster because they just know how to punch in things, move around, and where the button combinations are. Whereas things have moved around a bit on the OPXY. So it requires a little bit more thought to use the OPXY. But I mean, you've got just so many similarities between these two devices that I would say, consider this. I mean, you can get it for $500, maybe 600 at the most, where you're going to get like all these cards. I'm sure you can get all the cards. Maybe you can even get it with a nice skin on it. If you don't know, you can go to Oversynth and get the skin. That's where I got this one. And it gives you like the cheat sheet on the back. Obviously, you can get the app. Now, a couple things to think about. The OPXY is brand new, so it should be easier to get repairs under warranty and things. OPZ, unless you are able to buy one brand new, and I don't know how hard or easy it is to find one brand new, you're probably getting it used. Mine has started to exhibit a little bit of a warp to it. It's got like a little bit of the OPZ bend. You also want to be paying attention. These knobs, mine haven't popped out, but I've definitely seen people's that have had theirs popped out. And that could be super annoying, frustrating, and make it a little bit more difficult to work with. And I don't know how hard it is to fix because I haven't done that. I will say as well, as these have aged, a lot of these buttons will double trigger. So you'll be trying to like play something on the keyboard, and you'll just like start getting like double triggers, or like gates will cut in early and things. It's quite annoying to kind of fight with. I have seen advice from people to spray deoxit into here, and that is terrible advice. There's a plastic film that goes, it's like basically a sticker that has like all the little caps for the buttons under here. And if you spray deoxit in here, it's not going to get in there. But what's I have found actually does help, and I think it's why people think the deoxit's helping, is if you just take a button that's double triggering and just keep pushing it, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 times, yeah, you might wear it out. But on the other hand, it's gonna help break up that oxidation that's in there and causing that pad to not work well. So, something to think about is you might be able to get one of these things fairly cheap, and they are fun. So you get this. You can find out if you like the OPXY style of sequencing and all that, and then kind of figure out, do you want the big brother? Um, I ended up, because I've used the OPZ enough, I knew what I was getting into. I was like, I'm going to love this thing and be able to do all kinds of fun stuff with it. The nice things that you're getting, definitely memory, the 8 gigs of memory, it is just spacious, especially compared to the OPZ for being able to, you're not going to carry like a 512 gig sample set, but you will absolutely be able to have plenty of room to get like anything that you would want on here that you're actually going to use. Besides that, the 1,920 parts per quarter note means you can get very intricate programming done in here. You can record not at audio rate, but I mean, that is just so many parts per quarter note that you can really nudge notes into quite a few places for where you want them to land and stick. Yeah, I mean, besides that, I have to say the song mode and arranger here and having multiple patterns, it is just very refreshing to be able to just play something, be able to be like, hey, I want to make a variation on this track, come in. You can still do all this same work on the auxiliary tracks as well. So you can have multiple MIDI tracks, multiple CVs, you can have multiple tapes, punch-in effects. Like you can go absolutely crazy and just have tons and tons of different patterns. Now, the only thing that I've found personally that the OPZ does that I haven't figured out how to do on the OPXY yet is if you really, really like the tape effects, I haven't figured out how to route external audio into the tape effect. And I don't know that you can do that. It may require a patch, but as far as I've seen, you can only route the internal tracks into the tape effect on the OPXY. On the OPZ, if you've got the line module, you can have the line in and then route it into the tape, and you can do all kinds of cool tape effect things on an external audio source. But beyond that, I mean, that's one of the main things that I would say is missing that I've noticed and that I used. I've also seen people saying like the DJ lights thing here, where it says lights, but you can do some lights and some automate like some DJ lighting. There's also the motion, which allows you to do some like automation, not automation. You take some like video work where it will do like some different scenes and you can have it respond as you push buttons. It's pretty cool, but I don't really use either of those that much. So for me, it hasn't been a big selling point. But besides that, I think, a lot of things like the sample engine is definitely better on the OPXY. I think I look at stuff like the synths that are on here. You have fewer synths, but I know some people are arguing that the OPXY sounds better. Some people are saying the ones on the OPZ. That's kind of a to taste and how much time you're willing to invest in kind of dialing in things. And they're both samplers, so at the end of the day, you can load in a sample and do quite a bit with it. So I don't know, like that's not like anything I've been like super swayed by, but yeah, I would say resale market on buying used gear, usually not too bad if you can get a good deal. I am willing to bet that you can get OPZs at a pretty good deal right now. You can do a ton with this. And, if you're like, hey, I need like something else to kind of pair with it to do some really serious damage, I mean, you can get a P6 and an OPZ, and I would say anybody should be able to have a ton of fun with these two together for like doing serious sampling, even on a budget, and doing some pretty serious sequencing and pattern work on a budget. These two are an absolute treat. So that said, I still think the OPXY is awesome. I'm going to keep using it. I'll probably start making some regular videos on it if you guys want to check it out. But for any of the gear I've got, feel free to ask questions. I'm trying to do my best to answer everything I can and keep you guys well informed and educated. Anyway, everybody, thanks for taking your time to stop by. Keep making music, keep having fun. Remember, if it sounds good, it is good. And peace.